podcast. I'm your host, Mike Puri, and today we're going to be talking about a couple things. One, we're going to be talking about Jayz to be working with the NFL. He has an NFL partnership and self-driving trucks from UPS, and they already have them out on the road, and nobody knew about it. So I'm going to get right into it. This week, it was announced that Jayz, who's known for being a rapper and in the entertainment business, if you don't know already, he is doing a partnership with the NFL where he is going to be working with their social justice system. And because in the past, the NFL has had some issues with their image. And one of them is it starts with, I don't want to say it starts with, but it really came to a head when Colin Kaepernick started kneeling during the national anthem. And his intention was to bring awareness to social injustices to minorities. But considering he wasn't honoring our flag and standing during the national anthem, a lot of people took exception to it. There are some people who are indifferent to it, and there are others who probably just flat out don't care. But there's a lot of people who stopped watching. I wouldn't say a lot, but there have been people who stopped watching the NFL for numerous reasons. And there are people who still watch but continue to complain about other players that are kneeling during the national anthem. Now, there have been less players that have been doing it since the years Colin Kaepernick has played, which is going on 3 years, which is another source of contention from him, because himself and a friend of his, Eric Reed, who also played on the San Francisco 49ers with him, they kneeled, and then the following year, Eric Reed didn't get a contract, and he went to free agency, and Colin Kaepernick opted out of his contract and went to free agency. Well, they had a lawsuit against the league saying that the owners blackballed them, and they won a $10 million settlement. Now, not all of it went to them. A lot of it went to their lawyers for their legal fees. So Eric Reed, a year later, he got a contract for about $850,000, and then he played out his year, and then he got another contract for $22 million for 3 years. Kaepernick still doesn't have a contract, and he believes it's because the owners don't want to sign him because of his cause. Now, he gave $1 million to, I believe, 10 charities and organizations to who he deemed would help with their social justice causes. So, and that's where the NFL is. They want somebody to come in and kind of clean up their image. Now, they partnered with Jayz, and considering Jayz is someone who you would say a certain demographic can relate to, he comes from little means. I believe in Brooklyn, New York. He came up, and now he is a prominent figure in sports and in the entertainment industry. He has a sports agency called Rock Nation Sports, and he has an entertainment business called Rock Nation. Yes, he does fit in for what they want to do, but they think that he is somewhat of a puppet, kind of like a face for what they're trying to do, but it's business as usual for the NFL. And so a lot of people have taken issue with it. It has also come out that Jayz is going to be getting an opportunity to purchase a major stake in an NFL team, and with that, his self-worth will skyrocket, because these teams are just worth so much money. And they think that he is undermining Colin Kaepernick's cause, even though that he said that he stands behind it. Now, and a lot of people think that he should have brought Kaepernick in on the deal, which I don't think that he should, because if this is his business, I'm fine with it. What have you? He'd be the first black majority owner, which there isn't one yet. But considering his sports agency has NFL players in their stable of players, I see a conflict of interest here, because I don't understand how on one hand you can be advocating and trying and having the player's best interest in mind, when on the other hand you're an owner. So, he could easily say to his sports agency, get him to sign for this because it benefits his organization better. Just speculating here. But those are one of the problems that I have with him being an owner. Now, for some reason, I don't understand why they believe that Colin Kaepernick has to have a job in the NFL. He can go in and do anything. I understand that, that he's a very talented guy. Before he left the NFL, he had a pretty decent season. During his time in the NFL, he had 1 year when he led his team to NFC Championship. The following year, he led his team to the Super Bowl, and they didn't win. And he had 2 bad years after that. And then he had a somewhat of a resurgent year after that. He believes that he's good enough to play in the NFL. Other owners don't think that he's good enough to play, and general managers don't think that he's good enough to play. But they employ other players that are not as good, as what people say, that he's more talented than some other guys that are getting contracts. Now, on one hand, you think maybe he's not as good of a team guy as some of these other guys. Maybe he has too much baggage that he brings to you. Now I'm not saying that his causes are dumb. What he's doing, what he's looking to do, it's admirable. But the way that he's doing it, kneeling, I personally don't like the kneeling for the flag. I think that there's a lot of people that have served this country, and even more people that have died for this country, for that flag, that deserve our respect, and that's why I stand every single time. There's guys out there that are serving our country, overseas, and I think that they deserve our respect as well, and that's another reason why I stand for the flag. And I think that everyone should stand for the flag. If he's looking to bring, some kind of a more awareness to it, I think that there's other things that he can do, and I'm sure that Nike can back him with that, considering how much money that they have, and they can back his causes. That's kind of where I stand with that. I don't think that he has to have a job. I think that maybe if as an owner personally, I would think that he brings too much baggage to the situation. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm gonna move on to UPS driverless trucks. Now, the idea behind this is crazy. To think that there are trucks driving around with people not driving them. Now what they're doing is they have a deal with a company called Tucsan, and what they do is they develop self-driving trucks. Now, for the past few months, they've been using these trucks on a route from Phoenix to Tucson, which is about 115 miles. And on this route, it's just cargo. They're not making individual stops. They're just taking cargo from one location to another. And they have a driver in the car, and they also have an engineer in the car, but they're not driving it. They're kind of just monitoring it and managing it. So they've been doing this, and it's a really big source of contention with obviously truck drivers, because as this moves on, these guys are going to be out of a job, and there's going to be a lot of guys who aren't going to be driving trucks anymore. Now, some of the problems that I have with this are, how can you have self-driving trucks in inclement weather? I live in the Chicagoland area, and we get a lot of snow. We get a lot of times it rains ice, and one problem that I have is that when you're driving in these conditions, you need to be aware, and you need to be aware of your surroundings, not only of the people driving around you, but the conditions of the road as well. And if you're not, you can cause a huge accident. There could be huge problems. Okay. Now, I don't know how you can program a self-driving truck to be able to drive in these kind of conditions, because you have to be alert, and you have to be prepared for what's going on. And for what I know is that these trucks, they use radars around them to kind of scan what's going on around them to stop, slow down, and things like that. But I don't know how you can use radar to monitor the conditions on the ground. How much snow there is, ice, what your speed is like in the ice. So that's one of the problems that I have with it. Not to mention, a lot of guys are going to be out of the job. Now, can these men or these drivers, these men and women, be trained to possibly work on the trucks in a way, maybe to be there for fueling efforts, for something, to help maintain the trucks. That when one person's responsible for a truck, on one end, and then when that truck comes back, they check it for maintenance and things like that. What needs to be done, so that these people can keep their jobs. Just something to take into consideration for it. It's pretty crazy. The USPS has also piloted a program, a 2-week program with Tucsan from, I believe, Tucson or Phoenix to Dallas, and it's about 1,000 miles, and there hasn't been any word on that, so I'm waiting to hear something on it. But there is another pilot program out there, so this thing isn't something that's in the horizon. It's currently in mainstream development right now, and it's happening. So that needs to be taken into consideration. That this is well beyond, maybe this will happen, maybe it won't happen. This is happening right now as we speak. So keep an eye out. Maybe you see some trucks out there with people not driving them. Pretty crazy, but it looks like we're getting into that time, that time in age where we're going to see less and less drivers behind cargo vehicles. So that's what I got for you today, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'm very, very appreciative. Email me at mjp@57podcast.com. I'll be willing to answer questions. Send a comment below and hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to come on the podcast, you have something you want to talk about, I'll entertain the idea. Send me a message and see if we can have a good conversation about something. All right, guys, take care of yourself. This is Pre, out.